Thanks for joining us on This Week in Health IT Influence. My name is Bill Russell, former healthcare CIO for a 16 hospital system and creator of This Week in Health IT, a channel dedicated to keeping health IT staff current and engaged. Today, Patrick Anderson with City of Hope joins us. He's the CIO there, and we talk about a lot of things. It's been almost a year since he's been on the show. We talk about his playbook. We talk about KPIs. We talk about the impact of COVID, the legacy of COVID on health IT, and other things. Always a great conversation with Patrick. Special thanks to our Influence show sponsors, Sirius Healthcare and Health Lyrics, for choosing to invest in our mission to develop the next generation of health IT leaders. If you want to be a part of our mission, you can become a show sponsor as well. The first step is to send an email to partner@thisweekinhealthit.com. Your response to Clip Notes has been incredible, and why wouldn't it be? You helped create it. Clip Notes is an email we send out 24 hours after each episode airs, and it has a summary of what we talked about. It has bullet points of the key moments in the show, and it has 1 to 4 video clips. So you can just click on those video clips and watch different segments that our team pulls out that we think really captures the essence of the conversation. It's simple to sign up. You just go to thisweekhealth.com, click on subscribe, put your information in there, and you'll start receiving clip notes after our next episode airs. It's a great way for you to stay current. It's a great way for your team to stay current, and a great, really, foundation for you and your team to have conversations. So go ahead and get signed up, get your team signed up, and begin getting clip notes after the next episode. Just a quick note before we get to our show. We launched a new podcast, Today in Health IT. We look at one story every weekday morning, and we break it down from a health IT perspective. You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts at Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, you name it, we're out there. You can also go to todayinhealthit.com. And now on to today's show. All right, today we're joined by Patrick Anderson, the CIO for City of Hope. Patrick, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks. Good to be here, Bill. Haven't seen you in a year or so it's good to see you again.
Yeah, it has been a while. You came on during the COVID series, and I appreciate you doing that because that was a busy time as well. And it's since it has been a while, why don't we do this? Why don't we start here? Why don't you give us some background on City of Hope for our community that may not be familiar with City of Hope?
Sure. City of Hope is a cancer center. We've been around since 1913. We have advanced therapies in cancer and other chronic diseases. So I'd say we're half patient care, half research. And what really sets us apart, we're the founding member of the National Cancer NCI, the National Cancer Institute. And we've been collaborating and coordinating with cancer centers around the world for quite a long time. We've been a best cancer center in U.S. News and World Report each year for over a decade or so. We've had just tremendous science, Bill, tremendous science that leads to these life-saving therapies. We're leaders in hematology; those are blood disorders, as well as solid tumors. We've created precision medicine therapies with immunotherapy, T-cell and stem cell type science. We really tailor precision medicine directly to the individual patient. We have good manufacturing plants that manufacture the molecules that we put back into the patients to have their own immune system fight off the cancer and other chronic diseases. Just tremendous science.
So you guys are really, a research institute, but you're also a destination kind of facility. I assume you have patients coming from all over the country, if not the world.
We do. They're from all over the world. We have a new business called Access Hope, and it's basically where we're supporting Fortune 100 companies, their employees and their families, and they're all over the world. And then we also and we provide second opinions. We work with their prescribing oncologists and help them make sure they're getting the best care. And it's really a huge growing business for us, the Access Hope for employer groups and employers. With that, we also have international medicine, Bill, where we take care of patients all around the world.
Was that the Access Hope? Was that part of the? Is that what the Amazon agreement sort of fell into? They're doing that with
Yeah,
their
yep,
employees.
yep. Amazon, is one of our customers, and they're a tough customer. You have to have pretty advanced cybersecurity to be a supplier to Amazon, let me tell you. So it's been great working with Amazon, and they're Fortune 1. So basically, a lot of Fortune 100 companies followed as well. It's been a tremendous success, and just our we just beat our forecasts off the chart with Access Hope.
That's awesome. All right, so give us a glimpse into the life of a healthcare CIO in January of 2021. That's when we're doing this conversation. What work is really top of mind right now?
You know, through the pandemic, we obviously had to stop dozens of IT projects and create new IT projects. Everything from working from home and optimizing all of that to screening employees, screening visitors, to more ICU beds, new workflows, new builds in Epic, just a tremendous amount of work. But really, I think what has happened, at least for me as a healthcare CIO in 2021, we've really been able to move the ship from just building and delivering solutions to literally building business value. And I find myself now, Bill, in dozens, actually, I think the last count was 26 steering committees across the enterprise, as IT is now fundamental to strategy and execution of strategic initiatives. So with that, being able to drive that alignment across the enterprise, move entities to standards, lower the cost of IT, and deliver faster, better, and cheaper requires, I think, a CIO that is focused on that alignment and focused on driving those standards. It's been quite interesting.
So you're staying busy. Is that what you're telling me? It sounds like it. So Patrick,
Yes.
last time we spoke, the City of Hope was making moves into Orange County. Give us a little background on that work and how's that going?
Sure. Orange County is, it's a large county south of Los Angeles County, heavy population and a very dense population. We were just seeing a tremendous amount of patients going from Orange County up to Los Angeles County for care. We really didn't have a presence there. We have 31 medical centers all across Southern California, a couple campuses, but people were having to travel pretty far across Los Angeles from Orange County to get that advanced care, to get our life-saving therapies. So we decided to invest significantly into Orange County. We're building a campus in Irvine, but we did open an office in Newport Beach, and we're already at capacity there, Bill, seeing Orange County patients. It's just been tremendous. So we've hired a world-class leadership team from the best cancer centers across the country to run Orange County. We have Dr. Ed Kim from Atrium, and he spent many years at MD Anderson. We've hired multiple people from MD Anderson in Houston, and our president of Orange County, Annette Walker, and she came from Providence, St. Joseph, just a tremendous leader with tremendous vision. So Orange County is really underway. Construction is underway for our campus in Irvine. We expect to open doors next year in Irvine.
It's interesting. So that's physical access to care. And when we're talking about virtual access and telehealth growth during the pandemic, it's interesting. I just saw, and I know you're doing consults and those kind of things, but the virtual visit aspect, I was reading where oncologists did not feel like telehealth was a great experience for them during the pandemic, and it's one of the areas that's really going back to physical visits a lot quicker. Is that what you're finding there, or is it a little different?
No, we're embracing virtual care. We had already contracted with Amwell before the pandemic, and we were doing the design work, and then the pandemic hit. Because at that point, we were doing only about 10 visits a day, predominantly international medicine, leveraging other platforms. But once the pandemic hit, we did an immediate rush on Amwell. We stood it up manually with no integration with our Epic EMR for scheduling and so forth. So it was a little challenging, I think, the first couple months, but once we built in that integration for scheduling where the physicians never had to leave Epic, and we were really able to leverage the Amwell platform, we went up to hundreds of visits a day. And we're still at that level, and we expect to stay at that level well into the future, Bill. So we're not going to be reducing that. We did see a decline in ambulatory clinic visits because of the pandemic, and we now see that slowly recovering. Although, the Los Angeles area has just been hit very hard with the pandemic, and so there was a decline in visits, but we're still keeping the pace with virtual care, and we're expecting the visits to return this summer back to normal levels.
Did you guys have to care for COVID patients, or were you more because you're specialized, didn't have a lot of COVID patients?
We've been taking care of COVID patients since the spring, and we've had to expand our ICUs with the reverse pressure and all of that. We've had to expand that, but we're experts in working with patients with compromised immune systems, anyways. So it was pretty natural for us to take care of COVID patients. It's just that the patients with the comorbidities and everything is always very challenging. But yes, we've had our surges of COVID patients as well, and it's been tough. I'll say it's been tough.
Yeah. So let's talk about the impact of COVID on the health. So let's first start from a positive side. A lot of people have been talking about how the pandemic has been hard, but there's been silver linings. There's been positive movement at the health system and in IT and digital priorities and different things like that. What, if any, silver linings have you found at City of Hope?
Well, some simple ones is the rapid embracing of digital health, and with the virtual care, with the Amwell platform, and then also reprioritizing everything to bring more patient experience roadmaps forward. And that includes more education, more online education, as well as getting our patient portal more automated around e-scheduling, as well as e-check-in. If you get completely checked in, you don't even have to stop at reception, and you just go right to the waiting room, and then you're called. So bringing those things forward. Also, the work from home, Bill. We're probably going to see 70% of my IT team staying home permanently. That's probably the forecast. I can't 100% confirm it because we're still working on the scenarios and the standards and all of that. But a big silver lining in determining the productivity of people at home, tweaking their environments. Some people are using VPN, some are not, for better performance. But I'll have to say that the silver lining in that is less office space and actually higher productivity, because people are not commuting on the LA freeway system, and you know how that is.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm assuming you're not in the office, or you guys have the nicest offices in history.
yeah, we are definitely not in the office. My entire team is working from home, and that's like over 400 people. So it's been great.
That's fantastic. What do you think the lasting impact on health IT is going to be as a result of the pandemic? What do you think the legacy of the pandemic on health IT is going to be?
I think it's going to be a continued. I think now with the pandemic, we've really turned the ship again on providing value. We've been able to create rapid applications in Salesforce and in other other platforms. Now the business brings us in faster and earlier for most strategic initiatives. And they also know that everything has to go through governance anymore as well, especially with tighter budgets because of the pandemic. So with that, I think what we're seeing, Bill, is a need for IT to get in early on all strategic initiatives so that we can contribute our value. And that's really been, I think, the most inspiring result of the pandemic for City of Hope for IT.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good segue. What will the technology priorities be for 21? I realize we're not through the pandemic yet, but as we sort of progress here and more and more people get vaccinated, what will the priorities be around technology?
I think we're really seeing a focus on patient experience. But one of the tech items is remote patient monitoring. I think we're really going to expand that. People want to stay home. People don't want to go out. They do not want to go to the hospital or the clinics. Remote patient monitoring for many, many use cases. We're also building a hotel on our campus, and we're sort of building like a subacute type capability there so that when patients are discharged, but they need to stay close to their physicians, say it's a bone marrow transplant patient or other types of pretty invasive work, we'll have them at our hotel. They'll be doing remote patient monitoring at the hotel, similar to what they would be doing at home, and then being able to connect visiting nurses for doing blood draws and things like that. I think we're going to really focus hard on remote patient monitoring and increase those use cases and drive that patient experience. And everything from wayfinding we have the Frog app now, and people are actually able to get an assigned parking spot on our campus before they even arrive, which is the closest spot to their destination on campus. So our mobile platforms combined with the patient experience and automation is really where we're focused, along with remote patient monitoring use cases.
All right. So maybe I've been out of the game a little too long. The Frog app is what they do to reserve a parking spot?
That is correct. It's a mobile platform, and they can sign up for their destination, and then we have a puck on every parking spot on our campus now. And we're building a couple parking structures as well, and they will all have the Frog puck as well, and we'll assign parking prior to people arriving.
Well, that company should do pretty well in Chicago, New York, LA, Orange County. That parking is a serious problem at hospitals. That's great.
It sure is. Well, this company, I think, built their capabilities out of airport parking lots, so it's working pretty good for us.
Last week, I keyed you in on something that's unfolding here at This Week in Health IT. We started off with our influencer podcast a little over 3 years ago, but since then, we've been able to introduce Newsday and solution showcases. And last year, we expanded even further with our daily COVID-19 series. And now we have a daily show, Today in Health IT. And I'm happy to say that we're not done growing yet. We have something really exciting happening here at This Week in Health IT. Our goal, as you know, is to help inform, educate, and train health leaders. And we understand lots of people take information in different ways. That's why we're introducing written content to our site for the first time. You'll be able to find news write-ups covering each of our shows in detail, as well as feature stories. And I'm really excited about the feature stories. We've hired 2 great feature story writers, and they're going to take topics that are highly relevant to you and relevant to our industry, and they're going to turn them into feature stories on our website. I'm so thankful for all of our listeners and the conversations that we've had, our sponsors, and the dialogue that we've had. And the back and forth has really convinced me that this is the best next step. I want to thank all of you for listening and joining with us on our journey of raising up the next generation of health leaders by amplifying great thinking to propel healthcare forward. Do you have any projects around your major systems, the EHR, PACS, ERP, CRM?
Absolutely. We're working with the some of the bigger integrators for ERP and for future value of enterprise systems. We're really focusing in three enterprise areas, Bill. We're looking at ERP. We're also looking at the clinical enterprise, and we're looking at the research enterprise. And we're working with some of these top integrators. What does the future look like? What is the value that we can expect? And what value can an integrator bring with us to maybe partner with getting that value, having some skin in the game on that. So we're doing long-term planning on the business enterprise, the clinical enterprise, and the research enterprise. And we plan to create multi-year roadmaps, multi-year funding to upgrade the enterprise platforms for all three of those enterprises so that we can optimize value, because we're just growing significantly, and we need automation everywhere. We need chat bots, we need artificial intelligence, we need prescriptive analytics. We need it all to sustain our growth. So it's an exciting time to be in advanced cancer.
So you need it all, but last year was, I just came back from the JPM conference, didn't come back. I mean, I sat at this very desk and watched, 16 health systems talk about how their volumes were down probably between March and May was the predominant drop in volumes. And then a return, but not really return to 100% through the remainder of the year. And so are there any projects that, just from a fiscal standpoint, that have dropped by the wayside that you're like, hey, you know what, that's a nice to have, and we'll get back to that later? Are there any of those?
There were many of those, especially in the clinical enterprise. We had to slow everything down, and then we weren't sure what the funding was going to be like for 2021. So we've slowed everything down. We have major initiatives that are still moving forward, such as precision medicine, our oncology learning platform, Orange County, and all of the other construction that we have going on, and just another host of about 150 projects. But we're slowing everything down that's discretionary, sort of how you mentioned it, Bill. Anything that's discretionary, we're going to hold and wait. We're reducing our spend wherever we can, waiting for the return of better volumes, better patient volumes to drive the revenue needed for us to pick up the pace again on our priorities.
Wow. Man, you are probably one of the most succinct interviews I've ever done. I mean, you just you hit the points. I guess that speaks to the fact that you are your time is in high demand at this point, so you're used to answering the questions and moving on, I guess.
Well, I have a great team, Bill. We have a great team. We huddle a couple times a week, and we're really focused on interoperating. We have a playbook, and the playbook grows, and the playbook learns. We run the IT department here with a leadership team, and we run it through the playbook, the dashboards, and every time we find areas of weakness, we drive KPIs towards it. We monitor it for a year, and then once it's stabilized and clean, then we drop it, and we look for other opportunities to improve. So having a completely aligned leadership team really makes the big difference.
I've asked a lot of CIOs about their KPIs, and it's really interesting because they're all over the board. You would think that at this point in our industry, we would have like a standard set of KPIs, and clearly people look at uptime and whatnot, but they're really all over the board, and a lot of it depends on what type of institution. If you're an academic medical center, if you're a research institution, if you're, if you're cancer and blood disorders and those kind of things, you're going to have a different potentially set of KPIs than others. And that's one of the things I found really interesting as I was having these conversations. But you have a pretty solid set of KPIs around what you're trying to drive towards.
That's right. It's really based on supporting the CMIO and his clinical informatics, as well as the CFO and their needs, and then research as well. And we have service level agreements, we have KPIs, we have dashboards. We monitor the health of IT service delivery, as well as we have an amazing PMO, and we really watch the performance of our projects very, very carefully. And we have a very comprehensive governance, Bill. We have 5 governance committees over 5 areas of the business, and then they all roll up to an enterprise governance that I chair with all of the business leaders that govern those enterprise areas, and we drive that alignment. So I'm driving alignment in the business, and then I'm driving alignment within IT. And if you can keep all of that heavily coordinated, then all you're working on is really the exceptions, and you're bringing those exceptions forward into alignment. And that's what the KPIs do. That's pretty cool.
What's your EHR?
Epic.
You're an Epic shop. Are
Right.
you pretty it's given what you guys are doing, are you close to foundation, or is it highly customized?
No, we're close to foundation, but we still have a lot to do. Our Epic implementation is only 3 years old. And you look at other organizations that have had it 15 or 20 years, they're much more effective than us. We're still doing a lot of manual work, and we have a lot of work to do. And the pandemic really slowed us down, but we're getting there.
No, that's fantastic. Patrick, as always, thank you for your time. I love your wisdom. If people want to hear about the playbook, we actually did an episode on the playbook where you shared the components of that. They'll have to dig back into the archives. That was wow. What was that? 3 years ago now?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that playbook has evolved.
Well, maybe we'll have to next time you come on. Well, maybe we'll have to revisit the playbook and go through that.
Sounds fun.
All
Sounds
right.
good, Bill.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
All right. Take care.
What a great discussion. If you know of someone that might benefit from our channel, from these kinds of discussions, please forward them a note. Perhaps your team, your staff. I know if I were a CIO today, I would have every one of my team members listening to this show. It's conference level value every week. They can subscribe on our website, thisweekhealth.com, or they can go wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Google, Overcast, which is what I use, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it, we're out there. They can find us. Go ahead, subscribe today, send a note to someone, and have them subscribe as well. We want to thank our channel sponsors who are investing in our mission to develop the next generation of health IT leaders. Those are VMware, Hillrom, Starbridge Advisors, Aruba, and McAfee. Thanks for listening. That's all for now.